Hey guys, Mary here from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and welcome to another weekly live chat. I am your crazy host, still getting ready. I know. What can I tell you? It's YouTube and just roll it. Hi everybody, happy Friday. I normally go live here on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm way crooked. Sorry guys. I can't being weird. Hi. Yesterday was weird. This whole week is weird. Hey David, we had was it Memorial Day? What is today's lesson? Did you read the caption? We're gonna learn about seeds. Hang on, let me just get situated here and hopefully get all done and ready to go. There we go. We're talking about seeds. Today is a seed Q&A, and we're talking about what is different kinds of seeds. What are your questions about seeds? I will answer your questions. So, Laughing Gardens. Oh my goodness, we got a bunch of people showing up today. So, my normal live chat is Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. However, we had a federal holiday on Monday, and then Thursday was crazy. If you missed my live chat on Thursday, it was just a kind of a crazy time. I had a cat in my lap. Don't have a cat in my lap today. So today we're going to talk about seeds. Hey, Monica, you made it. I just sometimes wing it on my live chats because it's more so for you to be able to ask questions and for me to answer, or for me to get you an answer at a later time. More importantly is the basics of seeds, and also seed starting and seed saving. So my most recent video is Sean Cummings. If you watch any of my videos, it really depends on where you are. What vegetables to grow in November is completely different for Texas compared to, say, Michigan, Mississippi, Alabama, Washington State. So it really depends on where you are. Sean, in the description of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide. In my comprehensive planting guide, you'll find month-to-month planting guides, region specific. So specifically for your region, you'll find that information in the link that I've already provided. So one question I received recently was, I posted a link to our seeds, heirloom seeds. We carry only heirloom seeds. And the question was, if your seeds are heirloom, does that automatically make them non-GMO? And the answer to that is yes. The asterisk on that is only if they are heirloom. And I say that because there was a little bit of a controversy recently where a major heirloom seed company may have possibly listed a GMO seed for sale but didn't actually sell it. And with that comes a lot of research. Before you buy an heirloom seed, you want to make sure you know what you're getting. So I wanted to share with you the terminology in heirloom seeds, and so that you can make an educated decision on which seeds you're looking for, and maybe that would help you in your decision making, but also in your garden planning, because it's November. Not a lot of people are growing from seed right now, unless it's garlic. We still have a tiny bit of seed garlic available, so that is one thing that I am still planting. I had a workshop I was teaching this weekend. We had making sure that wasn't a snake hitting me. I don't have my little protector with me today, which is kind of a bummer. He was here yesterday. One of my classes was November. Sorry, I get a little freaked out here. I'm in the woods. One of them, not just November, but we talked about November planting in the garden, but we also talked about fall and winter in the garden for my workshop. And part of that is cool weather crops. And then my second class that I taught was seed saving. So of course, every time I do a class or a workshop, I like to share the information on my YouTube channel. So they are noisy blue jays. I was worried that there was something else going on other than the blue jays. So my most recent video I shared was seed saving. It was Seed Saving 101. Earlier this year, I did like 3 classes on seed starting. So of course, I came back to my workshop and I filmed Seed Starting 101. So let's talk about the terminology of seeds, okay? So this is important, and I actually took notes, even though I could, one of those things where I could teach it in my sleep, but also to where I want to make sure I have the most accurate information. So a true heirloom, hey Esther's daughter, thanks for joining me. A true heirloom is open pollinated, non-GMO, non-hybrid, and it has a history. So the terminology Heirloom is made up. That's not an actual real terminology as far as seeds go. So open pollinated is super important. That's what we really want to know about. Open pollinated means that it can be pollinated naturally through either manual pollination, like pollinators, bees, butterflies, all that good stuff, or it can be self-pollinating. Tomatoes sometimes are seed pollinating. Peppers, these beauties behind me. So open pollinated is the natural environment where it is being pollinated either through pollinators or it is self-pollinating. So an open pollinated variety will grow true to parent. So that's also super important, because if you are growing heirloom seeds to be able to save your seeds, this is partly why I wanted to do this chat tonight, was because I just did seed saving. If you want to save your own seeds, you want to make sure that they are open pollinated varieties. You want to make sure that it is not a hybrid, because some hybrids are, I'll explain that in just a second, they're sterile or they don't come true to seed. So an heirloom variety is open pollinated, which means it is naturally pollinated, either wind, manual, or self-pollinated, and it just is a natural occurrence in nature. So heirloom, open pollinated. Now, what's a hybrid? A hybrid is a variety that has two varieties that can naturally cross in nature. So we're talking about back here, I have two different peppers, and I'm going to try playing around with these seeds and seeing. This is my personal garden, by the way. It's not a seed saving garden. I'm going to try a Tabasco pepper and a Fatali pepper and see if the seeds that I collect come out as some weird cross. Because I have multiple seed saving gardens around the property, but this one in particular was kind of fun because it's my kitchen garden. So an hybrid is one that is naturally crossed in nature. Okay, so two different types of peppers, two different types of tomatoes, two different types of squash, two different types of watermelon. So that is a hybrid. Now the problem with hybrids, not necessarily like I'm anti, but if you want to save your seeds, if you save your seeds from a hybrid, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get the second time around. Usually you get either a mismatch of the two, or you don't get a true to parent variety. So if you bought a hybrid seed, there was this really cool pepper, for example, you may not get that same pepper when you save those seeds and try to grow them next year. I saw a post on Facebook where a guy bought seeds from the grocery store, and he's like, oh, is this Peppergate? Because he saved the seeds from a store-bought pepper and it wasn't true to seed. No, it either means it was a hybrid that you purchased in the store, or it was cross-pollinated, so whatever seeds that you saved from that wasn't true to parent. And that's why an heirloom is important. But sometimes when you have a created variety, those seeds don't necessarily come up. Okay, so that's just an option for you. We're just talking about seeds here. By the way, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask while I'm chatting away about seeds. You can also send an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com, and I will try to help you and answer your questions. Today we're just talking about seeds. Like I said, if you've got questions, throw it out there at me. All of our seeds at Mary's Heirloom Seeds are non-hybrid, thrown out there as well. Now, what is a GMO? A GMO is a cross-pollination or a splicing of genetic material from two plants that wouldn't be able to cross naturally. So that could be a cross between a pineapple and a tomato, because those are two different plants, two different families that would not naturally cross in nature. However, a GMO also may be a cross between splicing of animal DNA and plant DNA, or bacterial DNA like BT and corn DNA. It also could be like a fish DNA and a tomato DNA, or it could be splicing of pig DNA and soybean DNA. And I don't know about you, but that's a hard pass for me. Missy Smith says, do dark tomato seeds after fermentation mean they are not good saved seeds? Absolutely not. Unless you do a seed germination test on them, there's no real way to know that they are good seeds or bad seeds, because some of our seeds are dark and some of our seeds are light. The float test is another way that is not accurate to determine viability of a seed. Because I'll tell you this, loofah seeds, 90% of my loofah seeds float. 90% of my Japanese curry, red curry or blue curry, those seeds float, but they have a 99% germination rate. Both our loofah and a lot of our squash varieties have a 90 to 99% germination rate that's tested. So just like the float test, the visual test isn't necessarily the most accurate of testing. Just because they're dark doesn't mean they're not viable. Save those seeds. Make sure they are fully dry. Make sure you store them properly and do a germination test. The easiest way, honestly, is using the paper towel, moist, damp, in a container, and you're good to go. Now, Asia Joe says, why are there such things as GMO seeds? Now, I am probably the last person to answer that question, because I have always been on the no side of GMOs, because there's that whole GMOs were created to save people and create food and keep people from starving. But unfortunately, that may have been the original design of a GMO seed, but unfortunately, and maybe unintentionally, it has become a major corporate fund. And this is like totally getting on my soapbox here, but GMOs were created, and maybe they were created to be more hardy and more sturdy and whatnot, but the problem is those same companies that create those GMO seeds are the same companies that create the fertilizers and the pesticides go hand in hand with those. And here, buy this GMO seed, and now you have to buy it from us for the rest of your life, because your fields are now potentially contaminated, when you say it like that, because you can't save seeds from those GMO seeds and not continue to pay the producer year after year. And then you say, oh, well, now it's resistant to this. Now it's resistant to this weed. So this company that sold us the seed is now going to sell us another herbicide that's going to save our gardens from this herbicide resistant whatever. So anyway, before I totally get on my soapbox, there's a lot of information there. And just like, and this is probably totally controversial, just like the H-bomb, they created an energy source, and instead of it being used to help with energy, it was used to harm people and the planet and communities and countries. So if you look back in the history of it, yes, there's definitely like, oh, we created golden rice is the perfect example. They tried to create golden rice to save people who were starving, to give them nutrients in their rice that would help starving communities. But unfortunately, if you look back at the money, it's back to all of these agrichem companies. So they create one, they create the other, and now you've got to buy both. And unfortunately, with all those herbicides and pesticides, we're literally just polluting our waterways, polluting our bodies, and polluting our farmlands that are super important. And if you look at all that corn that's grown, good amount it goes to fuel and not to feed humans. So anyway, soapbox, stepping down from it. Spouted Dream says, why are some seeds grown in a sterile or soilless substrate? Is cooked soil okay to use for that? Okay, so The reason that some people use sterile soil is because you don't have the organisms, you don't have potential diseases that may keep your soil from allowing your seeds to germinate. Honestly, a lot of my seeds that I plant are direct sown in manure, fertilizer, like organic fertilizer, like our compost. So I don't use a lot of sterile mixes. But also, you don't want to bring weed seeds into your garden, and I don't mean that kind of weed. I mean like invasive weeds. Asia Joe says, sorry, I'm always getting very off topic. Hey, listen, I'll tell you this. I started my seed company when I saw kids in Title I schools, and then when I was volunteering, and then I went into a women's shelter. It was women and children, and I saw one of the same first graders in that class. He was in the homeless shelter, and I thought, well, you know, these people need food, and they need a way, they need a resource. And I was just getting started with my company, and that was after I learned about all this stuff that was going on with our food. So I have been in what they call the food fight for several decades. So don't apologize for getting me off topic, because this is my mission. My mission is to provide healthy heirloom seeds to help you grow your own healthy garden from heirloom seeds. But also education is so important. So Spreaded Dreams asked, is cooking your soil okay? I don't cook my soil because we have 5 acres. I can't cook my soil. So you are better off using something like coconut coir and perlite for your seed saving if you're worried about that, and if you want to do it yourself. Asia Joe, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you get a chance, please. So yes, I got a little off topic, because honestly, when you start talking to me about what is being done to our food and what is being done to our seeds, fun fact about seeds, by the way, 3 major corporations own more than 70% of all of the seeds in the world. So they own a majority of seeds. So all the more reason to grow heirloom seeds and save heirloom seeds, because you own your seeds. The only seeds you own are the ones in your hand. So super important. Esther's daughter says, how do you cook soil? Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I already shared this information. When I talked about disease-resistant tomatoes, one of the suggestions was to solarize your soil or cook your soil. But when you're dealing with a 4-foot by 8-foot bed, or when you're dealing with a half an acre of soil, you can't cook your soil. And I have seen this on YouTube, and I've seen it on Facebook, and all these, a couple of like influencer things. It's literally taking a bucket of soil and laying it out on a cookie sheet and baking it in your oven for a certain amount of time at a low degree. And that is to kill off any pathogens in your soil. In my opinion, ain't nobody got time for that. So when you're dealing with a large space, cooking your soil just isn't possible. So for me personally, I would rather use a soil-free medium, which is literally coconut coir. Coconut coir is what's considered a soil-free medium in some cases. It is a growing medium, but it isn't like, hey, I went out in my garden and I dug up some soil and I planted some seeds in there. Patriots, Rabbitry. I know, it really depends. I mean, honestly, and I'm not going to knock anybody that has a small garden that is working on that. But I'm not going to cook my soil. The reason being is your soil is a living organism. It is a living environment. So I'm not going to cook the good bacteria in order to save me from the bad bacteria. Okay? All right. Well, I totally got off topic there, but I'm so glad you guys are asking questions, because it's awesome. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. Today's topic is seed Q&A, and I'm always happy to answer questions. I did take notes, or I did bring notes, because I totally get off topic, and I always want to help you share information. So let me tell you this right now. Yes, if you bring it inside, I don't use any kind of outside I don't use any outside soil or medium when I plant inside. If you watch any of my seed starting inside videos, I use coconut coir. It's super easy, super simple, and I don't have to worry about bringing bugs from the outside into the house. When saving seeds, is plastic seed jewelry bags okay to save them in? Now, I did talk about that during my live workshop. Now, for short-term, plastic is okay. But for long-term seed storage, you want to use paper, because paper is a lot better for the health of your seeds than plastic. But sprouted dreams, like you said, absolutely. If I'm starting indoors, I'm not going to bring compost. I'm not going to bring manure. I'm not going to bring my regular garden soil into the house. I use coconut coir, and it's super easy, super simple, and it's considered a soilless medium, and it's also less acidic than peat moss. So I hope that really helps. All right, before I finish, I have a discount code for you. You can save 10% off on all of our seeds this weekend. You will use the code SEEDS at checkout, and that will save 10% off store-wide. No order minimum, no order maximum, but you can only use it once. So use it wisely. So today is Friday, November 15th. The discount code will expire on the 17th at midnight. This is 2024, just in case you're watching this video at a later time. Go out, check out what seeds you need, and stock up on seeds, because you're going to save 10% off when you use the code SEEDS. SEEDS. Cold weather crops? Absolutely. I talked about that recently. In my fall garden, we've got I've got a ton of stuff still growing. By the way, you can still see peppers growing behind me, which is not a cold weather crop. We've got radish, turnips, beets. We have carrots. We have peas. We have onions. We've got garlic, turnips, rutabagas. There is a ton of awesome celery, awesome root crops, and awesome cool weather crops. Located in Nova Scotia. How far in advance can I start things like long day onion, celery outside? So if you have lights, you can start your seeds 12 weeks before you plant them outside. If you don't have lights, it's a little tricky because they become leggy. So somebody asked me, how soon can I start my peppers? Honestly, in my area, my last frost date is March 12th, and I can start my pepper seeds indoors January 1st. I don't, but I can. So just to let you know, 12 weeks is pretty much a good option. Patriot Trapper Tree said, did you find out if the mulberries would cross-pollinate with the ones I have now? Yes, mulberries can cross-pollinate, but that's only a concern if you are saving your seeds. So if you are saving your seeds for long-term storage, or if you're saving your seeds to plant outside, that's one thing. If you are growing to just grow, it should not be an issue. What is the best way to start celery seeds? Sprinkle them on the top of your soil and let them grow, because they are so tiny, you don't really want to plant them super down under the soil. They really need water, sun, and you're good. Missy says, I have strawberries in pots. Should I take them in for winter? Totally up to you. If they are frost tolerant, then yes. There are some varieties that are more frost tolerant than others. I am in zone 8, and I don't take my strawberries in. I'm looking at a giant bed over here, and it's full of strawberries, and there's zero issues. It's just spreading like wildfire. So real quick, just before I finish, an heirloom seed variety, like I said before, is a variety that has a history. It's been passed down for generations. It's not just, hey, I came up with this seed yesterday and I named it myself and I'm going to call it an heirloom. It's super important to find the history of a plant. And that's what I like to do. I really do love to find the history of heirloom seeds. The Cherokee Cornfield Pole Snap Bean, brand new for 2025, and it has a long history. It is a mix of seeds, and the history of it is fan-freaking-tastic. Black mulberry, like David mentioned, is a new arrival for 2025. So yes, it can cross-pollinate with other mulberry varieties, but for production purposes, it shouldn't be an issue. But I will get more information on that for you, David. There's one variety of mulberry that is considered invasive. Black mulberry, they say can be invasive, but it's an old variety that's over 500 years old, so I'm not really worried about it crossing with other varieties because it is an heirloom. Now, Missy says, is heirloom defined as before 1950? So the question is it really an heirloom? Yes. Defined as over 50 years old, which now it's 1924, 2024, sorry. So 1950, we're looking at 75 years. Technically, it's over 50 years, but I really like something with history, and I really like something pre-1950s because they started genetically modifying seeds around that time for agricultural purposes, and I really like to find something that is much older than that. So yes, an heirloom can be defined as pre-1950s. The Porter tomato is something that is newer at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. It's over 100 years old. It's developed in Texas, meaning it was, when you talk about plant genetics, they took the best of the best and they continue to grow it, and they took the best of the best and they continue to grow it, and that's how they came up with the Porter. It's over 100 years old, from a Texas seed grower. So I really love the Porter tomato. I'm going to be growing that this year. The Texas Super Sweet is another one that I'm going to be growing this year and super excited about it. A couple of awesome fun facts. How long does asparagus take to grow from seed? Anybody have an answer for that? I answer that question in my seed saving video. Another question is, how many heirloom seed varieties do we currently carry at Mary's Heirloom Seeds? Another one I answered in my we got some awesome answers here. Very cool. You won. Thumbs up to you. Esther's daughter, send me an email. I have your email. Patriot Rabbitry, send me an email. I have your email as well. I know who you are. So send me an email. Say you answered correctly, and I'm going to send you some free seeds. So for those of you just joining me, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You two answered those questions awesomely, and I'm going to send you some extra seeds on the house. If you want to buy some seeds, go to marysheirloomseeds.com. Go and place your order for all the awesome seeds you want, and use the discount code SEEDS at checkout. SEEDS. And definitely check out some awesome information. You'll save 10% when you use that code from November 15th, checking my watch, November 15th, 2024 to November 17th, 2024, and you will save 10% using that discount code. Now, I want to know what you want for my next giveaway. So I'm going to finish off this live chat. I'm going to go in and I'm going to have some dinner because I'm tired and it's getting later, and we are busting our booties in the seed shop right now, getting all these amazing orders shipped out. So I want to know what you want to see in my next seed giveaway. That will be in December. As soon as I'm done, comment below. Let me know what you want to see in my next seed giveaway, and I will try to accommodate. All right, everybody. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds signing off. And if you've got questions, send an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. And happy planting. Have an awesome weekend.